Hi, Hearties. This is Heart to Hearties, and we are thrilled to be with you today. I am Marg Stark from San Diego, California, and I'm joined today by some friends.
Kim from Barrie, Ontario, Canada.
Hi, I'm Amy from Lancaster, Massachusetts.
And we're incredibly pleased today to be joined by our season 10 and several seasons, our incredible, amazing, uber talented Barbara Gregusova. I cannot say that 3 times fast. So glad that you're here with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
We're kind of marveling that we know how busy you all are. You're in the midst of filming season 11 as we're trying to recruit you to promo season 10. And so we really appreciate you being here with us. You have a few things going on.
Yeah, it's busy, but there's time for you guys.
Yeah, well, good. Thank you. How are things going on set? How's season 11 coming along?
I think pretty good. Yeah, like I usually try to be ahead of the game as much as possible, especially like, how the week starts. So that's why I can actually talk to you today.
Oh, wow. It's your organizational skills.
Oh, no, you have to be very organized.
I can only imagine. Yes, you've got to be.
I don't want to forget anything, right? So I have my notes, like if you're altering something, like when needs to be on set and where is it coming from and all that. So.
And how did you manage? I know you had a heat wave.
This year it wasn't bad.
No, not so bad. Okay.
Oh, this year, no, because
I think Mike had posted last week, or somebody had posted last week about how hot it had been on set. So I always think of you all in those costumes, and
it was hot, but it wasn't as bad, I think, as like last year or the year
before. Okay. Will you remind Hearties how many seasons you have been with the show?
Well, since we're doing season 11 right now, that will be my 9th season.
Wow. Wow. Does it ever get old?
I don't think so.
No.
I'm sure we throw you curveballs all the time.
I mean, it changes, right? Like each season is very different, and we are trying to do, like when it comes to costumes, each season better and improved. So yeah, like there's always different challenges and things you have to address. So
amazing. Well, I neglected to say that you are an award-winning costume designer, because we know you've won some awards for the costumes that you've done for When Calls the Heart. So we can't wait to sort of dig into it with you.
Actually, it was only nomination for the When Calls.
Oh, well, that's just wrong. That's just wrong.
It was actually for it was actually for Elena. And it was actually for the building the costume. So it was really great because
Okay. Well, you should be nominated every season as far as we're concerned.
Season 10 started off with a bang for the costumer, what with Elizabeth wanting to loan out her maternity clothes to Rosemary, and then Rosemary sporting a large baby bump for a third of the season. Walk us through dressing Pascal for her character's pregnancy and the famous dyed frock of Elizabeth.
So, yeah, I don't really know when this came about, or like, because I think we have this discussion of using Elizabeth's dress even like previous season, like if there is a baby. Like I think there were some talks. I mean, I always like recycling the clothes, so. But there is talks of so many different kinds that I don't really remember.
Right.
So yeah, but she basically had like 2 dresses, which one of them was actually old Florence dress from season, I think 1, or I think it was from season 2. It was the green one.
Okay.
Basically, I omitted it in season 3 we never used it on Florence ever again. So, and then we kind of repurposed it for the pregnancy, one of the pregnancy outfits. And then we had a teal dress, which was also repurposed. And so it was actually sleeveless, and we had to add the sleeves and find the matching fabric, because, obviously you just have one dress and there is no more fabric. So so we had to find in stores exactly or as close as we could get for the fabric for the sleeves, so to find the teal one. And then we basically altered and dyed some of the I think we kind of used all of them, actually, all Elizabeth's dresses at one point or another. The only thing which we didn't use were the pregnancy coats. And yeah, so there are a few which I didn't want to dye because they actually looked like the blue one with like the little embroidery. So we altered that one. I mean, I don't know if you can tell, but like when Elizabeth wore it, everything was very like wide. You know, there was lots of fabric. And so since we are also in 1920, we basically were slimming all the silhouettes down for Rosemary. So there was lots of reconstructions for all those dresses, even if we were dyeing them or if we were not dyeing them. And then the ones we dyed, there is the teal one with like little stars on it, which was originally gray. So basically we kept the bodice, but we dyed only the skirt, and then we added the lace to the bodice to match the teal on the skirt. And then we dyed I think it was originally light pink of Elizabeth's with a white top, or like an off-white top with little flowers, and then we dyed that one red, which turned out great. I was really pleased with that one. Yes, so me and Martin were dyeing in the kitchen. And
I have like very little experience dyeing clothing, but my limited experience, it's very hard, and you're not always sure what the result is going to be. Like, that's pretty incredible. Yeah, I mean, presumably you have better skills.
Well, I started tie-dyeing and dyeing when I was 15.
Oh, wow.
And I kind of dyed everything at that time, which came under my hands. So it wasn't very in at that time. So my classmates at high school didn't really understood it.
That's hilarious.
Because there was this special, I remember there was this special thing at school, and I wanted to wear this dress, and my mom made it for me from silk, and then I dyed it. But it was just something which, you know, like, yeah, it was very misunderstood, I would say.
I think we were all misunderstood in high school, though.
I still have the dress. We actually ended up using it for a movie a long time ago, and it was set in like 1970s. And actually, we didn't use the dress. I borrowed it to the girl to wear it to the awards. That's what we did, actually. Yeah,
that's so
Very
cool. When I saw the dress with the white yoke, I thought, there's no way that was dyed. You had to reconstruct that whole thing. Did you just take off the yoke and then dye it and then put the yoke back on? Because I can't imagine how you would have dyed it with white yoke. Okay.
No, everything was white was basically took apart, and we only dyed the skirts. And then, I mean, it still had to be, you know, reconstructed for the Rosemary because they are different size. So.
Right.
Are you talking about the white with the teal that she wore on Great Expectations, the birth episode, or a different one?
Probably that one. Yeah.
Because that was stunning, just stunning. She looked so gorgeous. Wow.
Yeah, it turned out really great. So I was happy. And we actually used Elizabeth old pregnancy belly too. So that was funny.
We did hear about that from Pascal. She had a few choice words for Elizabeth's belly bump. Yeah, she was pretty much done with that when she was done, she was done.
Yeah,
we asked her if she preferred the belly bump or the corset. She went with the corset.
Yeah, I think I could probably prefer corset over the belly bump too. So.
Yeah.
I told her it's like she's got that rucking. She's ready for rucking, you know, that sport with the with
well,
the
it's
backpack.
actually heavy, right? So
you run a tough water.
That's what she said, yeah.
So
well,
Crazy.
Leah Michelle of Nashville wants to hear how you developed and made the bathing costume that was featured. And then how did Jack Wagner respond to being so scantily clad on this Hallmark show?
So are we talking about all the swimsuits or just Jack's?
Yeah, you can speak to all of it. That would be great. And then specifically we have to talk about Jack's.
Okay, well, let's start with Jack. So we knew like how it sort of is going to look like, but when I did a fitting with him, he actually was like, we can show more skin. So it was kind of collaboration between both of us, like, you know, like how, let's call it scandalous, we are going to make it.
Wow, hot spring scandal.
And then
Scandalous and Hallmark
for
don't always go together.
and then for the other outfits, so we had lots of tourists in the swimsuits, and then we had the kids. So yeah, so it's actually surprisingly very hard to find any like references from like exactly 1920, and I think that's what kind of happens with that period, like, you know, anything what you are researching, because if you do 1920s, you don't really know if it's like beginning, middle, or the end. And the, you know, like as during any other period, it changes over time. So you kind of have to try to figure out, okay, so is this the beginning, middle, or the end? And obviously anything prior to 1920 you can use because that already existed, right? So, you know, you can be inspired by previous decades or whatnot. So yeah, so basically all of them were built, all the swimsuits for everyone. So they were all from scratch. And I was trying to basically look for fabrics which evoked like they are from 1920. I mean, the stretch stripes, like, you know, like they did wear those. So that was kind of like sort of like the easy one. So you just didn't want the stripes to look too modern. And then for the girls, like especially the kids ones, I really wanted, yes, some like different textures. So, and I mean, they did wear cottons, right? Like they didn't, you know, like it's all kind of like a cheat, right? So, yeah, and then they were really matching cute hats. So,
So cute. So cute.
I had
We
a
had
cotton bathing suit when I was a kid.
Did you really?
Yep. It was brown with daisies on it. Very
oh,
nice.
that sounds nice.
So
It was
nice.
homemade.
A little different than bathing suits today.
Yeah, slightly.
It didn't dry
We
as
did
well.
have
Let's
a
put it that
Hardy who
way.
asked, Charlene Lee from Florida asked, while you're talking about this historic references, like where do you find information about bathing suits in the 1920s? I mean, that's
Well,
rather specific.
actually, we found some books. So there were some books which we found, but you know, there wasn't a lot of pictures. Then obviously the internet is, you know, you always end up on internet looking for things. And I'm just thinking I do have some books which are, you know, like, you know, I have swimwear books, but there's still like there's just such a limited amount for like the period we are doing. So yeah, you kind of just try to like research everything what you can and go from there, right? So
moving on from bathing suits, Susan Towley of Alberta, Calgary was hoping we could ask a little bit about the men's costumes. She noticed that costumes were trending away from the tweed wools to more smooth coats and wool suits with deeper colors and less neutral tones. And she noticed in episode 4 that Mike, Lee, Lucas, and even Ned were looking very nice in their darker tones. So she was wondering if we could talk a little bit about that and what this new movement in men's attire might mean for the season.
I don't know if I would call it movement because technically they didn't get anything new.
Oh, really?
Yes, I don't think like we add things like over the season, but I think it's like more like, you know, I put it differently together.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what you probably see, right? Because like if I do a lineup and I don't know where like what was happening unfortunately in the episode 4.
It was the birth. It was the birth and Ned running around to get the car ready for Rosemary to go. And let's see what else was Hickam. And I'm trying to think what everyone was wearing. Yeah.
So I mean they have their closets, right? And like for Lucas, we got kind of away from what he used to wear when he first came to Hope Valley. So we used to do like those, you know, let's say brocade vests with, you know, like dark pants and a matching blazer, right? Where now he's more in like trippy suits. And we kind of went away from that a bit. For Lee, I mean, we kind of introduced like few three-piece suits for him, but he still, you know, has his plaid pants with, you know, unmatchy vest and the blazer. So, and then Ned, he does have like I think it really depends what's in a lineup. Like it starts with the ladies, and then I usually fill out the men, and I try to have them in different shades, like that I don't have them all in like gray or blue usually, and I do like brown a lot. So but it kind of breaks it down, right? Because if you have everybody in like blues and grays, then it's kind of, same color palette. So yes, I think that really came like what the Hardy noticed, that just came very, I think, naturally.
So it wasn't designed to communicate something specific.
No.
Okay. All right. Got it. I do notice Faith is often in brown.
I'm thinking, because I'm like going through her closet what she has. She does have like 3 different outfits in brown, I think. That she has green, and then she has the pale blue one.
Yeah, I love how her costumes have evolved over the years. I think she's just so beautiful, and I think her beauty's just so beautifully showcased this season. So great job.
She's also pregnant. So
yeah, pregnant lady.
Yeah, added another twist to costuming, I'm sure.
Totally.
And then on another styling choice, we saw in the latest episode a new wood chopper in Hope Valley. Joseph was chopping wood. Hearties seemed to absolutely love when chopping wood comes into town. And so we noticed that Lucas has kind of traded in some of his suits for more casual attire. We saw Nathan in a short sleeve shirt while he was drawing a picture of Scout and his trying to get him adopted out to someone else. Can you tell us a little bit about dressing the men down, but in this rugged attire?
Well, they definitely enjoy it.
Oh, do they?
Well, I mean, if it comes to
prefer it, of course.
Definitely, anytime he can get out of his uniform, he will get out of that uniform.
That scratchy wool coat.
I was gonna say, I can't imagine it's very comfortable.
I mean, it shouldn't be scratchy. I didn't hear one.
Did he say scratchy? I thought he said scratchy.
Well, he didn't tell that to me, so I don't know.
I'll review. I could be
go back to the notes.
Like anytime when it actually, they don't have to be dressed up, we try to go that way.
We love seeing them rugged. It's kind of fun.
Well, it's nice to break it down, right? Like it's not all the time the same. So if we can break it down and they don't have to wear their suits, then
yeah. But we did wonder if Kevin was maybe trying to show off his arms, maybe, because
well, he does like the short sleeve handle.
He does. Okay. All right. And Lucas rolling up his sleeves, right?
Well, I kind of leave that up to actors when it comes to that. Like,
they get some choices.
Yeah, like it feels like what is natural, right? Like I'm not on the set to, supervise the scene, and it has to feel natural. So you don't want them to be all buttoned up if, it should be more casual. So
I was kind of curious as to whether it's the actor's choice or if there's something in the storyline, because I know Hearties were noticing Lucas playing with his cufflinks when he was sitting at the hot springs and kind of rolling up his sleeves. So everybody's always wondering, like, was that written in? Was there a reason for him? Or was that just Chris saying, I want to roll up my sleeves?
That would be like Chris's choice in that, because, I mean, like in a script, they usually don't say they say other stuff in the scripts, but not that they have rolled up sleeves. I mean, even for kids, right? Like if it's a summer, I'm like, if they want, they can roll up their sleeves, right? If they are doing anything like, I will make this up, but let's say fixing a bike or something, right? Like it doesn't make sense for an actor to have, like you just want it to be natural. So whatever works.
And was Viv in suspenders? I can't remember what he was wearing to chop wood.
Probably yes, because I kind of insisted
we love that look.
Wear the suspenders when, like, I know there is one look with Nathan without the suspenders, which was a mistake.
Oh, really? Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I forgot how it happened, but I think even Little Jack was not wearing suspenders once. But there is a rule: they always are wearing suspenders. If the actor doesn't wear a belt, they are always in suspenders. And for Nathan, I insist on if he's wearing like his casual clothes, he has to wear suspenders.
Very cool. So speaking of rugged, we're so accustomed to seeing Henry in his fur-lined coat and his amazing polished suits. And this season is a totally different Henry. So tell us about dressing Martin for those.
I think it's the same for him too. Like it's just like if he wants to, like he's very specific, and if he feels like he has his one suit which he loves. It's from, I think, I don't know if it was in season 1, but it definitely was in season 2, the brown 3-piece, who basically he will probably would wear until he dies or something.
Yeah.
It's like he's gonna steal it from set.
It's like getting worn and everything. So yeah, I mean, it was again like it just didn't make sense, right? Like to have him in a button-up shirt, and then and sometimes you have the actors come to me and be like, even like this year we had a scene actually where I'm just thinking how to like there is certain scenes where can I take this jacket off, right? Like can I just stay in a Henley, right? Like it's just like what feels really the natural for them to do what they have to do in the scene. So it's kind of like I would say for this like this undressing scenes, I think it's more like a collaboration with the actors and see like what they are comfortable with, what they want to do, and what works.
Right. Okay. Awesome. So Madeline St. John has come on the scene, and literally the moment we saw her, it was just like this arresting, rich city look, and her hats and her giant stripes. And so how much fun did you have with that? Hearties had a little fun with it too. We saw a meme. I don't know if you saw this on Twitter. Somebody found a palace guard like in Great Britain with the giant stripes on it. It's so eye-catching.
Well, she was a lot of fun. And no, like I'm just like I did kind of like the research. So she was supposed to be very like 1920, right? So very modern. And I do love stripes. So I think
me too.
So I think like when I was thinking what she should wear, like that was sort of like the first place I went to. And then yeah, when we did the fitting, because like what I usually do is because obviously we don't have it all built, right? So, and I need to also know what works for the actress. So usually it works that I take her measurements and then I figure out like what fabrics or color palette is going to work for her. And I kind of pulled all the stripy fabrics which were in a premises or or we went to actually shopping. So the one which she actually ended up wearing, and it was the pants, so it's like the blue with like a pinstripe, right? So it also feels more like 1920 for some reason to me, like all the stripes. And definitely with 1920s, or let's say 1920, the hats got introduced, so it was something which definitely she had to end up wearing just to complete the outfit. Yeah, I think it was just very lucky that it just the actress, like she just looked so gorgeous and everything.
Gorgeous, yes.
And then there was a dress which we built, the red one with the stripe, and that was actually inspired by a modern dress which I found in a store, and it was actually white, and it actually had a regular collar, so it was actually like sort of like more like a shirt dress, but it had all the draping which I really liked. So we kind of were inspired like for the draping by that, and I wanted her outfits, I think, all together to kind of like tell the story, like that's why the stripes, right? Like, or if she had a dress from the red one, then she would probably have a skirt and a blazer, right? Like it would be kind of like maybe she went to a store and she had all this made out of this gorgeous fabric or something like that. So yeah, but she was lots of fun. So yeah, so all her outfits are made from scratch, and there is a couple blouses which they were not made from scratch, except the white one, like I think the one which she wears the first, because there was like a special reference I actually found, so we kind of went off of that one for that.
I don't think we've seen the scene yet, but there's a photo we saw of her with a parasol. It's just very soft, kind of pastels, light pink or something. So is it, over the season, is she going to get a little softer maybe, or is
ever wore pink? Because
Bill's heart going to soften towards her?
Because I know she has one with just the gold and blue stripe.
Okay.
She has the red.
I could be wrong. It may have just been the parasol.
The red one, the red with white stripe.
Okay.
Because we also started the way, like, we don't really necessarily have all the pieces as the actors start, right? So
yeah,
you know, like depending on the scene, it might be like, oh, we need a blouse and a skirt. We don't need the blazer yet, right? But then we build the rest of the pieces how, you know, the episodes progress, because we just don't have all the people, you know, enough people to build everything at the same time.
Seriously, yes. How many people are working on that at any given time?
Overall on the whole show in a costume department or on
yeah. Right. Yeah.
Well, total we have, if we count everybody, I think there is officially 9 of us.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Max. And that's including like the background costumer, the 2 track girls, and 1 set girl, and me and my assistant. And yeah, I would have to do a math. It's a very small crew, considering how many costumes we are building. It's
absolutely,
for sure. You have a big group, and you had to dress the tourists as well. You know, who are also presumably city folks coming to take the water. So, tell us the thought process that went into their attire and how it kind of contrasts with the Hope Valley town folk.
So,
you know, because maybe it wasn't at Madeline's level, but you know, they would have different stuff as well, I suppose.
So basically, I wanted them to be in more like the lighter colors. You know, like the lighter, like let's call it like beige and browns, especially when it came to men. Like I didn't want to do, maybe we did like light gray or light blue. I don't remember that, but like I really wanted them to be very polished in light colors. Brown shoes, striped button-up shirts. We did ties for the men, and then we did the hats. So that was kind of like the basic of it. We had them all fitted, which normally, like when we do background costumes, like for let's say the Hope Valley townsfolk, like we don't usually do fittings. They usually just show up on a day and then we dress them. Where for the tourists, because it was very specific, we actually had to do fitting for every tourist. Wow. And also they had the swimsuits, right? So we also had to take their measurements, and then the swimsuits were built to fit them. And then yeah, for the girls, I will end up with the stripes again, but it's funny because I bought this jumpsuit like years ago because of the fabric, and it was sort of like off-white with like a light, I think it's maybe black stripe or something, and I bought 2 of them because usually, like, if I know there is not enough fabric for me to do anything with it, then I will need 2 to make something out of it. So we ended up actually making it one of the swimsuit for one of the background out of this jumpsuit. So that was very exciting. And then for the ladies, it was again like it just had to be very polished, right? So it was again like, I know like one was in the yellow dress and with the hat, and then we did like all the ribbons to match the dresses for the ladies. And all the skirts, or yeah, like all the skirts were like shorter because, you know, it had to be more modern. And again, we just went with the lighter color palette, which basically stand out from our regular townsfolk people.
They did really stand out. They did really stand out. Yeah. I kind of wondered if you were, because I think when we talked with you last year, I thought I recalled that you weren't going to lean into the 20s quite as much in Hope Valley. So I thought, well, maybe she's leading into it with the tourists because they would have the latest fashions, as opposed to Hope Valley that we sort of are wanting to nurse along those longer skirts.
Yeah, I mean, it was researched, right? And like they were savage. We basically, like all of them basically came through my hands. And we rebuild it, right? Like even for the ladies, like there was actually originally this website I wanted to order dresses from, but luckily a friend of mine who is also a designer, she ordered from it before me, and that actually showed me that it wouldn't be really the right choice for us because of how much it cost and how it looked like. It just wasn't like, it was like, let's say the dresses were too short, and it just, we ended up using one of the dresses from actually hers, which she ended up buying. It was like the light blue with like a deeper blue on one of the background. And then that worked fine, but then you have to have the right height, right? Like for the dresses. So as soon as you have anybody taller and you buy one of these dresses, they would be too short. So we ended up actually, there is a pink dress which we ended up building based on one of these dresses and just making it work for our background girl. And then there was yeah, and then we kind of repurposed certain things which we already, not we never like used it on When Calls the Heart, but like we had it, right? So, oh, like this would be nice fabric, and it would work with this fabric if we make a skirt out of it. So,
oh my goodness,
can't imagine what your storage unit looks like.
it's, yeah, we have lots of stuff there.
Yeah. That's great. I mean,
you fit after this year anymore. We'll see.
Oh, that's great. What can you tell us about wedding attire?
Well, I don't think you guys are even in any episodes going that direction, so I think I cannot really comment on this subject.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Okay.
We can respect that. We thought we'd give it a try, you know.
Yeah, I already had that question before, but I could only laugh, unfortunately. So.
All right, we'll just keep laughing.
Yeah, I cannot get in trouble, you know.
So at this point, baby Coulter doesn't have a first name. Hopefully we'll find out what that's going to be soon. But one of our fellow admins, Annette Zopes of South Carolina, really wants to know about this baby's layette and is wondering if she's going to be the most fashionable child in Hope Valley, considering who her parents are.
Well, I mean, little Jack is pretty fashionable too, I think.
He is.
I agree.
So, darling.
I don't know if you will see much in season 10. I think there will be more in season 11. Yeah, I think that's probably because, you know, when the baby is small, they usually bundle it up. So
lots of fashionable blankets.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know how much you're actually going to see because we didn't build, I think we built one, maybe 2 outfits for the baby. Yeah.
It's a beautiful baby. My goodness.
Yes.
Very, very sweet.
All right. So we've been talking a lot about season 10, but we know that you're up there and filming season 11. So Hearties are very curious. So we were wondering if you had to pick a movie or a book or a song that shares the theme or vibe of season 11, what it might be.
That's a hard question. I mean, I think I just pulled a book because that would be easiest. And it's kind of like all the books come, I think, from this publisher, which I use for my research. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, look at that.
Ooh, wow.
Ooh.
Look at that.
Yeah, but it's basically, I have like a bunch of books over the 9 seasons I worked on this show, which basically I always refer to. So they have lots of, like, this one is still new because it's, you know, 1921.
Yes. Yes. I want to see that pirate hat on somebody next year.
I think until we have like a Halloween season or something, nobody would go for it.
Darn.
Yeah, but yeah, like there is certain books which I usually like just go on internet and try to find like as many, you know, research materials as possible for the time period we are in, just that I have like some better inspiration instead of internet, because, you know, you cannot always rely on it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else you want to share with us about season 10? Any particular challenges that it raised for you, or anything that you're really proud of in season 10?
I mean, I definitely like the Madeline's outfits.
Yes.
And yeah, like it's just nice when you have a new characters and you can, you know, play with something different.
Yes.
And that was lots of fun. The swimsuits, like last year, that was a lot of work, like all the costumes, because we had some, like we usually don't have so many specialty costumes for the background. So we actually, had to build everything or, alter, because even the men's suits, right? Like for the tourists, like everything had to be altered to make it fit. Because
Wow.
it just doesn't, like it's easier for us to dress the townsfolk because they don't have to be, matchy, right? But as soon as you want somebody to be very polished, and there is actually, I think, more to come as the season goes.
I'm sure it's hard for you to even keep track of which is 10, which is 11 at this point. It was so long ago.
Well, it's funny because I think when I did the interview for season 9 at one point, and I don't know who asked about like fire, and I'm like, we had a fire? Like, we're having a fire. Like I remember the kids and the ice cream because I know that was very specific, but the fire, we kind of try to avoid any scenes where we are going to lose any of the costumes.
Yes, of course. Of course. Fire
doubles,
and costumes,
right? So,
no bueno. Yeah, that's not a good thing.
They don't mix.
Yeah, but no, I think there is more. Yeah, I think the season.
There's a grand occasion, it looks like, coming, some type of very fancy.
I don't know how much you know, so.
We don't know a lot. We don't know a lot. We're just fishing as usual. Fishing and trying to get as much information as possible.
No, but I think the season 10 was a lot of fun because it's like, yeah, it's just very different, I think, from previous seasons.
Oh, interesting.
Especially, okay. I think it's more, it actually ended up being more like 1920, like slowly getting there. So.
And how was your experience working with Lindsay, the new showrunner?
It was great.
Good. Yeah. What did she bring to the table? What did you enjoy about that?
Well, I didn't really talk to her as much.
Ah, that's interesting. Okay.
Oh, I don't think I can really elaborate on that one, but she was very interested in ladies' wardrobe, especially Madeline. So we had lots of like text messages about that.
Okay.
Because sometimes she was like, I think there was like a specific scene a few times where, if we already established an outfit, she sort of like text me a picture of the one which we already established and was like, maybe we should use this one. Like if it was like, I think it was like a sensitive scene or something like that.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly, which that normally doesn't really happen. So I think that was probably the most communication we had was about Madeline.
Okay, so that's critical. It's important. Okay.
Yeah, and it was just like specific scenes, like how they wrote them, and and then we were discussing when she's going to wear a hat and when not, and
right.
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing that makes us happier than when we see all of the fitting pictures at the beginning of the season with you helping everybody, and it's especially heartening to see everybody out of masks now doing their fittings with you and enjoying that. So thank you for what's been just a spectacular 9 seasons. My goodness, or not, we haven't even seen the season yet to come, but we sure enjoy every moment. Hearties are a little bit detail oriented.
Oh, I know.
Just a little bit detail oriented. Yeah. So thank you for attending to all of the details because you do it in such a beautiful fashion. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Hearties, we're just glad that you're here with us. Each week we'll be here show night on 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock Central, always using the hashtag Hearties on our tweets. And if you would like to ensure that you don't miss a single one of these chats, you're going to want to go to YouTube and subscribe and like and all that stuff. So this has been Heart to Hearties. We'll see you again. Thank you.